Episode 5. Where is your courage? One of my quotes states, "Whatever you have the courage to practice, you will eventually master." Again, whatever you have the courage to practice, you will eventually master. Karl Malone, a famed NBA basketball player who's retired now, he spent 19 years in the NBA, 18 with Utah and 1 with the Lakers before he ultimately retired. He was asked during an interview while he was playing how he survived to play against players that were more athletic than he was. And he said, "I may not have a lot of talent as many of the other players, but I will outwork all of them." So he set out to be courageous, working with the tools that he had. We must work with the talent that we were given and have courage utilizing those talents. Let's define courage. Courage is the ability to do something that frightens you, strength in the face of pain or grief. People who are courageous overcome their fears or things that frighten them by doing the things that they really desire, their goals, achieving them. I remember this Bible verse in Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, and I'll paraphrase for sake of clarity. Now, the prophet Ezekiel was talking to God, and they had a conversation going on. And he said to him, "Son of man, can these bones live?" And he answered, "O Lord, thou knowest." But God was trying to get him to understand that he himself, Ezekiel, must do something to cause his desire to come forth. We often find ourselves in an ambiguous state sometimes when we think of our goals and the things we want to achieve. We think that we need the current to be just right, and we wait on circumstances. Sometimes we wait on people to do things that will help us. But in actuality, we don't need to wait on anyone. We simply need to act towards our goal. And when we make the first step, we will find that others will come into our life and our experience circumstances to help us achieve our goals. But we are the main catalyst to achieve our goals. We must start the race and have courage. You must have also people in your lives that encourage you and strengthen you, believing in you. I remember when I was a kid, a teenager, there were other kids in the neighborhood. They would get in trouble sometimes for doing silly things, and sometimes they did things that could get them locked up. But they were my friends, but they would not allow me to do things that were illegal or would get me in trouble. So before they would do something that would be a little sketchy, they would tell me, "No, you can't go with us, or you can't participate in what we're about to do." And I would get angry with them, like, I want to do it as well. But they were true friends, and they saw something in me that they did not want to taint or derail my life in a way. So it's imperative to keep those people who encourage you and who mean you good close to you. You must have them in your inner circle, and this will help fortify your courage and strength when you would go back on what you really desire. I remember when I was really young, maybe 4 or 5 years old, my great-grandmother, she said to me, she grabbed me by my face, gently pulled my face to look at her, and she said, "You're going to be great." And she smiled at me, and that's the only thing she said. Said, "You're going to be great." And I always remember what she said to me throughout the years. You're going to be great. You're hearing something all the time. We have things that we say to ourselves, self-talk. We carry that rhythm around with us throughout our lives. But we must cultivate the good things that have been said to us throughout our lifetime versus meditating and rehearsing the bad things. Because we encounter some bad things that has happened in our lives, and also people have told us some bad negative things. But we must have the courage within ourselves to go forward, even though it may not be the perfect situation. Henry Ford has this quote. He said, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you're right." So whatever you're saying to yourself, you're right. You're convincing yourself. So why not say something to yourself that's good for you, that's palatable for you, that will be the catalyst to help you achieve your goal and be courageous. The famed R&B singer Whitney Houston, I remember doing her memorial service. Kevin Costner spoke at her memorial service. They did a movie together called The Bodyguard. And he was talking about their friendship. And he said that during the rehearsal before the movie, the screen test, she vacillated in her courage. She was wondering about herself. Although she was this great singer on the inside, she had trouble believing how great she was. And at the end of his speech at the memorial service, he talked about how she didn't believe she was good enough. But in essence, he said when she sang before God and presented herself before God in the end, that not to worry, she's good enough. So even you who are alive and still on this journey of life, you must believe no matter what, you're good enough. In the current state that you are, you're good enough. Even though you haven't blossomed and bloomed to this point, as long as you get it in your mind and fixate it within your heart, you're good enough right now, no matter what. So take heart and continue to forge ahead on life's journey.